welcome to the very first Python mini project class. So this project will focus on um, being able to apply the knowledge in the last two courses and actually using it to do stuff. So as you can see by the title of the stream, we will be going ahead and writing our own tic-tac-toe program. So this process will take a couple of weeks. It won't be something that will be gotten instantly, and that is expected because this is like a project, so it will take a little bit to understand. And this is different from our other programming because now we are actually going ahead and programming something that's on our actual computer instead of something like CodingBat, which is entirely online, right? So that is kind of a brief start to how we are going to go ahead and start programming. So that is going to be our programming interface. What do I mean by interface? Well, an interface is going to be something that we use to communicate and use in order to program our program, right? So as you can see here, this is the logo of PyCharm. So this is the IDE I like to use when I program because it's really helpful. If you want to install your own IDE, I will run over the steps to do that yourself, and if you ever have any trouble with that, then just go back to this video and you can use this as a reference. So let's go over here. So if we wanted to install our own Python IDE, we're completely new to this, so the first thing that we need to go ahead and install is actually Python. So we just go to python.org, and you have /download here, but we can just do python.org without the /download. It'll bring us to the home page of Python, so it should look something like this. And it has all this fancy stuff over here, everything about downloads, documentation, all this kind of stuff. What we want to focus on is this over here. So we're just going to go ahead and click on the latest, Python 3.9.1. Okay, so as you can see, it has all of these notes and stuff. How the different changes essentially from the last versions of Python, all of that kind of stuff. And it's important to just understand what you need to know from this. So all of this stuff over here is not stuff you need to know really. This is all just kind of extra stuff that we don't need to look over. Over here is going to be the interesting part, I guess. So as you can see, there's like 10 different installations of Python, all of these for this latest version. The one I suggest you go ahead and you go with is going to be the recommended version right here, Windows. Now make sure you are working on a Windows if you are installing this. If you are on a Mac OS, then follow the instructions of the description over here. I'm not entirely too familiar with the Mac OS, so if it's an Apple computer essentially, a computer that has the Apple logo on it, it's going to be running on Mac OS and not on Windows, and you're going to need to install one of these two. But for now, I'm just going to be going ahead and going over the instructions of the Windows installation. So once again, you're going to want to click on the 64-bit version, and in the description next to it, it should say recommended. So once we click on it, we can see that it starts to download here. It'll take a little bit to kind of set it up. It's a decent file. So now I'm going to go ahead and actually I need to switch over to my screen. Actually this should do it. Alright. Alright, so you guys should be able to see this now, I believe. So it should be the entire screen. So what you see over here is the setup over here. So um, we have these two options over here, and we also have these two checkboxes. So we are going to be pressing install now over here, and you can see under this is going to be our path. This path is quite important because that's the way you're going to know exactly where it's going to be located. There's custom installation, but that's only if you really know what's going on in your computer. There's really no need for that because this pretty much does it all for you. And you're going to want to install launcher for all users, and add. You don't need to check add Python 3.9 to path. So we can go click on that, and you can see it brings us to the whether or not we want to accept the changes, and we do want to. And you will see it will start installing it, and it'll install all the folders over here. And once we go ahead and we install all the folders here, we can go ahead and it'll show us the next step. It should finish up any second now. Alright, so setup was successful, nothing went wrong. Nothing really should go wrong. If there's anything that says it's like any problems or something like that, then I would suggest just Googling it. So over here, it has some, small instructions, an online tutorial, some documentation. That's if you don't really know what's going on at all. And at your terminal, type py to launch Python. This is going to be our terminal over here, or we can go ahead and open up a command prompt. There's no need for that because we can just go ahead and open Python ourselves, and or we can search up Python in our start menu. So it says over here disable path length limit. There's no need for this. So once we set this up, we can just press close over here, and Python is going to be completely set up for you. So hopefully you were able to see that. So I'll bring you guys back to there. Alright, so now that you kind of know how to set up your basic Python, the next thing is going to be being able to actually go ahead and use it. Now, actually I should probably bring you back to this screen. Alright, so if you were to just kind of look over here, and once you kind of installed the Python already, you can go ahead and you can just program using Python, and it will just go ahead and it will give you a command prompt essentially. And what this means is that it has all of the Python code. So if you were to write something like any small program or something, it would work in the command prompt. But this isn't an exactly pretty interface, and people tend to like to use IDEs, right? So an IDE is going to be something that can help you with your actual programming. And when you go ahead and you use this IDE, it's essential to make sure that it fits all your uses. So the IDE I recommend and I use is going to be PyCharm. So PyCharm is a pretty helpful IDE. So I'm going to go ahead and explain exactly what an IDE is. So an IDE is something that helps you program. So when you go ahead and you program this stuff, many times, you'll make some mistakes from time to time. And the IDE is essentially like a Grammarly for programming. It will catch these errors, so you don't need to worry about that kind of stuff. All the small errors with, spelling print the wrong way or something like that. It will catch all those errors. It will underline it in red. Sometimes it'll even change it for you based on like the settings you have and stuff like that. PyCharm is a very common IDE that a lot of programmers use. Obviously, it's named PyCharm because, well, it's specialized for Python. And as you can see here, when we click on the download button, we can see we have two options here, and then we have the different I don't know what you call it, Windows, Mac, or Linux. Operating systems, that's what it is. So once again, I'm going to be going over Windows. Obviously, in Mac you have your like pretty much the same choices, but you know, with different buttons, different ways that the thing will go ahead and download it for you. So we want to go ahead and we're doing it purely for Python development. Um, we're not going to be going ahead and using the professional. First of all, because we don't need any of the features in here, and second of all, because it is not free. This is free and open source. Now, I want to get you guys familiar with open source. So later on in this class, I can go ahead and kind of teach you guys exactly what open source means, because this is going to be one of your biggest friends when you go ahead and you do this kind of programming. So we go over here and we click on this black button over here,